I'll just introduce the course a little more so that you have a better understanding before you take your decision. Okay, so I'll just introduce a little more. See, this whole concept of Gann, he was, as you already know, that he was an American trader, and he was using financial astrology is a new term actually, but it is more of astronomy and astrology, which he was using in his trading, and his work was purely based on research. A lot of research he did, on stock prices, because his assumption was that there was something which was affecting the market, the prices, and he wanted to get the root of it. And then that is where he started his studies, and he found some references in the Bible. He says, and then he started looking for these cycles. And after studying, making a lot of study, he used to sit for hours in the library studying stocks, past prices of stocks. And then he found out that there is some kind of a cyclic nature of things, that they operate in cycles. So then slowly, as he progressed, he developed some systems, and he used to use 3 4 systems. So the shortest cycle which he was using was the lunar cycles. And then, of course, with that, he was combining another cycle, which was the planetary cycles, the various other planets which are there. So those cycles are little larger cycles. Then, if you have heard that he was also using something called squares and wheels, so those are price mechanism where he was able to kind of forecast prices with time. So he used a system of octaves. There were multiple systems he brought into thing, and then he combined all of them, and he was using as kind of a reconfirmation of his trading decisions. So out of all this, in this course, I'm just focusing on the lunar cycles. Okay, that is, I'm just focusing on the trends. And the moon actually affects affects everything on the planet. And we already know, because we see the tides up and down, right? So we already know that the moon has an effect. And similarly, the moon also affects demand and supply. It affects the economy. And then that is reflected in the stock prices. So every stock or currency or instrument which is there, it has a cycle. It has a rhythmic cycle which repeats, and they can be different from each other. It's not necessary that stock A will have the same cycle as stock B. It can have a different cycle. So what we do in the course is that we try to discover those cycles. Now, in Gann's reading, Gann has given all this information in books, but then his books are very cryptic. He has not openly said things. He has kind of left it on you to judge and find out. And because his theory was that this is sacred knowledge; it cannot be given straight away. People have to work for it. You have to work for it, and it has to come to you. The whole aspect was that it has to come to you because it is a gift of nature. I have been a Gann student for a long time. I've been studying his books for a long time. I've also had my mentors in life who have helped me in this journey. And then I was able to decode, kind of backward integrate this lunar cycles using his text in a very simple logical form. Like we don't use too much of astronomy or astrology, too much of it. We use limited use of it, and then we use logic to get into it, and then we are able to get to those cycles. That is how it. So it has become very easy to find and work on it. Otherwise, it is very subjective. If you go through his readings, you will find that there are a lot of interpretation about his reading. There are various people who have written about him, and they have got all different things. So you cannot understand what should you follow. So I was really lucky to get some people who helped me. And then, I did my own studies, and then I was able to kind of find out this. And I put it in a very logical sense. So you don't require, there's not too many things required here. You basically need to have some, experience of Excel or Google Sheet. Okay. And it is more of cut and paste, and a little about astronomy, which I'm anyway teaching as a part of the course. So the course actually is around 6 months. So every month there is a video which comes, and in that video, I explain you a few things, few concepts, and then I tell you what you have to do in that month. Okay, so you will start working on the exercise. And then after that, again, next month, we meet again. I mean, there's another video which comes. And in between, around 45 days time, I do a live webinar. So in that webinar, we meet, and then we discuss your progress. And if I want to explain a little more about that particular lesson which you are doing, I'll explain that. And then I add some lot of other values, other things which I think are important when you do this study. So I put all that knowledge and wisdom into these webinars. So it is a combination of recorded lessons and it's a combination of webinars.